How's it going, everybody? Well, I just went to a gun show we just had. Actually, that's going on this weekend. Me and my wife, we actually went in there yesterday and did some looking around. And I didn't see a whole lot that I was interested in, but I came across this guy that had this pistol right here at his table. This is the Kahr P380. As most of you know, these little pistols are pricey. They're you can see these things anywhere from $575 to $650 without night sights. You can catch them on sale. Sometimes I've seen buds before have them on sale for around $5.25. But I mean, your run-of-the-mill street price on this is $600, thereabouts. Our BX has got one, no night sights, same pistol as this right here. They're getting $630 for it. Just crazy money, Well, this guy had this used one and he was asking $450 for it, and this was not an FFL. At this gun show, he was just an individual selling there, and they wanted $450 for it. And I was, putting him through the third degree. Are you the original owner? How many rounds have been put through it? Blah blah blah. Well, he never would give me a straight answer. He said, this is my gun. He said, I've had it about, I think he said 3 years. He goes, I probably put like 25 rounds through it. So I said, well, let me think about it. So I came home yesterday, started doing some looking and some thinking and looking at prices and all that kind of stuff. And I thought in my head, well, I'm going to go in there and, I figured if I could get the thing for around $400, I would take it. But I was going to offer him $360. He's asking $450 for it. So I go back in there today. He still has it. And I really give this thing the look over. I got my little Meritech flashlight, take my glasses off so I can see up close, and I'm really giving this thing the once over. And just physically looking at it, I was like, man, this freaking thing looks practically brand new, So I asked him, after I looked it over, I said, well, what's your bottom dollar on it? He goes, well, I think I told you yesterday, $450. And I said, yeah. So that's the best you'll go? And he goes, yeah. I said, well, I can't do that, So I kept looking at it. I thought, well, hell, it doesn't hurt. I said, you take $400 for it? And he says, no. He says, I have that. He goes, I have more than that in it. So, truthfully, between me and you guys and everything else, what I had was $420. And I told him, I said, look, I'll be straight up with you. I said, all I have is $420. I said, can you take that? If not, I'll have to go. And boy, he kind of, this and that. And he goes, well, let me ask a question. Well, he had this guy that was at this table next to him, and he held the gun up to him, and he says, he goes, you want this for $4.25? And the guy's looking at it, and he's like, he goes, I can't. He said, I don't have the money. And he looks at me and said, okay, deal. And then his buddy chimes in and said, man, you lowered the price on that, huh? He goes, well, I wouldn't have if I hadn't just bought something. He goes, I had $400 in it. So this guy says, talking to his buddy, not to me, that he had $400 in it, but apparently he had just bought something, so he was trying to recoup some money. So anyway, I got this for $420. But I just took it apart and, cleaning it up, which it really didn't need. It didn't need it all. But I wanted to leave it apart and kind of give some close-up shots of this so y'all can see the condition that it's in. It's, for all intents and purposes, the thing appears cosmetically to look like it's been fired very, 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 very little. You know, this is what it looked like when I took it apart. I just kind of ballast salted it up and, you know, put some lube and stuff on it. But even running patches down the barrel and everything came out just whistle clean. So who knows what the story is on it. I mean, obviously he took it on a trade or bought it or whatever from whoever. You know how, kind of like car salesmen, you know. You don't really know what to believe all the time. I don't know how well that's going to show. But you kind of get the gist of it right there. You know, the thing is just in phenomenal shape. And for $420, you know, I said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. I normally don't like buying used guns. I know there's lots of guys that buy them and, you know, never have an issue. And for this price point, you know, the way I'm looking at it, I mean, I got this for a minimum of $150 or so off of a new one. Even Bud's guns, one through Bud's would have run me, with my FFL fees and everything else, would have run me around $560, $570, and he's by far the cheapest I've seen. So I was like, you know, I'm going to give it a shot. So let me attempt to put this thing back together without looking like a total goober here, which I probably will look like a total goober. But let me, now I'll tell you what, I've got a Kahr CW9. I'll tell you one thing about these cars, these springs in these things are very, very stiff. Man. Let me wrestle with this just for a second here. Sorry about this. Brand new gun. I want to make sure I'm not putting this down in a slot where it ain't gonna fit. And this thing being so tiny too. Oh shit. Let me try it this way. Let me try it this way. I might have had that spring backwards. Yeah, I think I had the spring in there backwards. It was binding up in there. Okay, so I have this back in. I wouldn't think it had made a difference, but trying to put that in with that spring that other direction, it was not wanting to compress quite enough for that to go down in there. Alright. Let's see. Kahr. Okay, now right there I just kind of pulled the trigger on it so that thing would slide on back. Let me see here. Push this back. There's a, well, I guess I lucked out, I don't know. Nope, that ain't in all the way. There it is. Now it's in all the way. It just came with the 6-round magazine. It does lock to the rear. But, you know, I had my SIG 238, And if you guys don't know it, I think I said so in my video, I sold my SIG 238 and my Glock 10mm to purchase my AR. And I knew that I wanted to replace that 238 potentially with another 238, or maybe try the Kahr. But with the price point of the Kahrs, you know, being more than even the SIGs, I was, you know, kind of leaning toward the SIG. So when this opportunity came up, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it. I mean, if the way I look at it, if I get this thing and it's not reliable, if I just don't like it, whatever, you know, I can get my money back easy. Might be able to even make a few dollars on it, I don't know. But that's it. This gun is 9.75 ounces, so it's very light. 6+1 magazine. They do sell a 7+1 mag. It has a little floor plate on it. I may try one of those. Very, very small. This is actually lighter than the SIG. I mean, it's a totally different, you know, battery of arms and everything else. This has no safeties. You know, you just pull it out of your pocket and fire. Now I'll show you the length of pull on this trigger. That's another plus in my book of with the SIG. Is the SIG had kind of like a single action trigger. You know, you didn't have to pull it back very far because it had the hammer when the hammer was cocked. Now this here, isn't that weird how we do that? Check that again. Pull this back. This definitely don't go back as far as an LCP does. Trigger is smooth, no creep. You know, for this style of trigger, I think is very nice. Very nice. This has got that stinking high dollar freaking barrel in it, the polyagonal or hexagonal or whatever. But I got high hopes for it. Got some high hopes for it. I love these Heine sights, these combat sights. I really like those kind of sights. I like them on my CW9. I prefer, actually, these type sights over 3-dot. Believe it or not, but I do. This right here, the top of the barrel, right here, that right there is the only place that I see wear. And on my 238, I had roughly 50 to 70 rounds in that SIG, and the barrel on that was black, and the top of this had that black finish on it, and just in like 70 rounds that wore off totally. When I first saw this here, I thought, man, that thing's probably been shot a bunch, you know, wearing that off like that. But then in my time of being able to think about things, I was like, you know, maybe not so much. But anyhow, that's it. Kahr P380, used. Bought it at a gun show, and I got high hopes. Let me know what you think. If you have any experience with the P380, good or bad, go ahead and chime in. I'd appreciate it. Oh, he also gave me this little, yeah, these things are what? He probably pays like $3 or $4 for these things. But nonetheless, it's better than a kick in the teeth. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care. We will see you later.